Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. This is Gloom of Kilforth. This gigantic sprawling world is changing, or is about to change, from being a very pleasant one to one of gloom and misfortune. So in the last video we talked about the fact we took out the Black Orc, which was a huge victory, but also took a ton of HP off of our dwarf priest at Vognus. He is not doing so well at the moment. So one of the key factors we're going to talk about here is the reward and loot phase, which is where we essentially landed at the end of the last video. We weren't even able to get through a full day, but that is the goal today, is to get through maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe even more if we can. So we're going to go ahead and talk about a few things before I get into this rewards phase. And the very first thing I want to talk about is this keyword right here, or not keyword, sorry, because the enemy, humanoid, and badlands are keywords. This map in trap wording there says pay 1 gold. Now that only triggers when you actually end up engaging the monster. So that's either by your choice of engagement to fight, which you are allowed to do by confronting. So you can confront a quest, place, or stranger at your location. So you can go ahead and do that. Or in this case, you go into an automatic engagement when you pull a card and it's an enemy. You have to fight it immediately. It's just the way the game goes. So we were forced into it, so we had to lose a gold because a trap triggered, and we talked about this story was that as Vognus was caught up in the trap, a gold slipped from his pocket, sadly the only gold he had. Now the cool thing is, going into the rewards phase after defeating this monster, was that he actually provides us 1 gold. Now we have to make a decision here, because in the rulebook it says you're allowed to either take a gold, or you can just essentially not take a gold and actually go to the loot bag, which is a bag full of tokens that could be good, bad, or in between. And essentially grab one of those and see what happens. And it's a gamble. So being that it's only 1 gold, and that's not a substantial amount, or really going to push us really far to our 5 gold that we need to get to for our regale action later on to solve a saga chapter, the very first chapter we're doing, I think it makes more sense to go to loot bag. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and grab the loot bag. We're going to do a little shuffle, and that's this massive kind of bag here. It's not exactly small, it's huge, and it's big. So we're going to shake this thing up as best I can. Sorry, I'm like not shaking that up off camera, but it's pretty big. It's not bad. So we're going to go ahead and shake it up and dig whatever we can out of it. I'm going to try to go for the middle here. And what do we get? What the heck? Focus. A potion? Are you serious? Well, I'll take a potion. That sounds great. Couldn't have been a better pick there. That's amazing. What the heck? Okay, sorry, a little confused as to how I managed to pull that, and I don't even know how many potions are in that bag. I didn't make a count inventory-wise to know what the odds of that are, but that's insane. So, amazing. We got a potion. That helps us. So what that is essentially does for us is it goes into our hand as a loot, and when that goes in your hand, you can have up to 6 loot total. You can have up to 6 assets, which we have none currently, and we can also have up to 6 cards across in our rumor pile in our hand, essentially, which is, I'm using an Uberstacks tray there to hold those. So essentially we just got to keep 6, 6, and 6 in mind. And yeah, that sounds like a terrible number combination, but those are the numbers that matter for our hand limits and all that good stuff, and loot limits. So that's really cool. So here's the thing. We've now officially cleared this off. The next step of the rewards phase is to whether to take the encounter as take the card as an encounter, meaning, take the encounter card as a rumor, which would end up going into our hand, essentially. Now, this rumor you can't really find, so I don't know if the wording is rumor or not in this particular case, because there's no location you go to find anything. There's no benefit here except getting the keyword. So you just either choose to take it in your hand, or you choose to discard it for whatever symbol is there, and for this case it would be an item coming from this deck right here, which is useful, but you know what? I want that Badlands keyword because I'm going to discard it later to solve my saga. So that's great. I'm going to go ahead and put that in here with the poison. Now we've got 2 cards in our, or 2 rumors essentially in our hand. The poison actually has a rumor that says we need to get the Wretched Bog, as we talked about in the last video. So our dwarf is more than happy, and he's made progress in the Misty Fens. He's loving life at the moment, except for the fact he's been bleeding out a little bit. So he's going to go ahead now as a deed action, because this does not cost a black heart action to do, and he's going to heal himself for 1 HP, because that was insanely coincidental and needed. So we do not get an AP back when you get HP, and that's the very interesting thing about this game. AP, which is your action points, come back in the essentially at the beginning of the daylight phase. So in other words, When you gain HP, you don't just gain AP, but when your daylight phase comes around, you gain AP based on how many HP you have. If that's not confusing, I don't know what is, but it makes perfect sense when you see it played out, and you'll understand why. Because what it's doing is it's capping you day to day. If you go out and try to be too adventurous like I just did and went all the way down to 1 HP, I would have, without that potion, only gotten 1 AP at the beginning of the second day. Would have made my second day pretty useless, but now, thankfully, because of that potion, I'm going to have 2, which is a little better. Okay. Enough of that. So we finished off the rewards. Our AP is drained. That's the black hearts, which are right here. That is gone from this area, which means we have to make camp. So Vognus is very tired in the Misty Fens. He's going to pass out and take a long slumber for the beginning of this day. So we're going to move now into the night phase. This is where things get interesting because the land of Kilforth does not sleep. And we know that our wonderful ancient is out there causing pain and suffering. So we're gonna go ahead and grab a night card and hope that it's not a Badlands card, because remember, in the night phase, if it's a Badlands card, a plot card, which is this one right here, comes out with that particular night card. So here's hoping it's not Badlands. It's not Badlands, but it doesn't look pleasant. It says Fierce Storm. So the land of Kilforth, sorry, has fallen into a fierce storm. It's a weather card, and it says when revealed, place 1 obstacle at each location for each place it has. Place is a certain type of encounter card that you can pull from any of these decks. We currently don't have any place cards in effect right now. If we did, an obstacle would occur there, meaning that that place currently has a storm brewing. And so basically we're okay. The storm essentially thematically is coming is the best way to think of it. We've got a fierce storm on the horizon that's going to affect certain places in the days to come, as long as this card is in play. And it also says as a map, when a place enters play, so going forward, this goes along with the theme, place an obstacle at its location. So as the places start to come out here, they're going to go into a fierce storm. So we're essentially thematically seeing this in the sky in the distance. So we're going to go ahead and put this weather card up here to remind us of that. And the weather card stays in play always until either it says a game effect gets rid of it, or another weather card from the night deck comes out and replaces it. So what we're seeing down below, which you may not see now, is it also gives you an idea of which place is going to fall into gloom. And it says the verdant fields are going to fall into gloom. So where are the verdant fields? They are right there. Okay, so it's these guys right here. It's a plains card. So this is a pretty nice looking place, or at least it was a pretty nice looking place, and it has recently fallen into gloom. So it's gone into a shadier, more unpleasant looking place full of fog and everything else. The one main difference besides the art you'll notice is there's a little red -1 in the bottom left. If we end up leaving ourselves on this card at the end of the day, we will take a hit, which is not good. Each hero at a gloom location loses 1 HP when the night phase kicks in. So we don't want to be landed here when we have no AP left. We can pass through it safely, but that's about it. So now we've covered that, so that's good, although that's not good. So we pulled our night card, and we've gone ahead and put it in. That covers the darkness section of the night phase. We're going to go into the dawn. Now into the dawn, each hero discards all their encounter successes. And I'm only going to go over this in the first couple of videos, and then I'm never going to talk about it again unless it impacts our play. At least I'm going to try to anyway. So you discard all encounter successes, meaning if we had been fighting the Black Orc and we were only 3 hits on him and he had 4, our encounter successes are wiped, meaning that he's fresh and ready to go. So they get stronger overnight and they heal up themselves. So you want to get rid of them during the daytime phases. You also become unhidden. So in other words, if you chose an AP, which I did, to become hidden, I used it to gain the surprise on the Black Orc, but if I hadn't, any hidden token on your character is wiped and gone away. Defeated heroes, ones that die essentially and end up in Sprawl City, they regain 2 HP. And then on top of that, any you unveil all skill cards. So skill cards are going to be these cards here, I believe, but we don't have any yet. But that means instead of them being turned left, so and we'll see that later, but usually when they're veiled, they're turned left, and when they're unveiled, they're straight up and down. It's just a term for tapping essentially, but in their terminology. And then the next hero, or it says the first person to make camp, if you're playing more than one person solo, takes the first hero token. That'll never ever happen, and I'll never talk about that again because we're playing solo. That is what you do in the dawn phase. Then you move into the daylight phase where you break camp. Essentially, Vognus wakes from his slumber in the Misty Fens and he's ready for action. He's got a little bit more health this time. He slept away. He also fired back some potions and was able to regain some HP over the night. He's now going to gain AP back equal to his HP. So now he's got 2 action points to spend. That's a good thing because we all know that, you know, well, we don't all know necessarily, but you want to have as much HP going into the daylight as possible because then your AP also comes back with it up to a max of 4. Okay, so we've got that covered. And now we go right back to our hero turn. We can move, clear, search, hide, confront, discover, rest, do the market actions, whatever we want to do. And this is where things get interesting. So we already have the Badlands keyword set. All right, we need Stranger and we need Plains. So Plains are going to be blue cards like this. But we also have mountain cards to the left of us. We have a plain card up here, and we know we want to get to the Wretched Bog at some point because of the poison. So I could head this way to the Barrow Moor, or I could head to the Spire Tor, which looks pretty awesome, and I think I'm kind of hoping that's the good place to go. I kind of want to go here, and the reason I'm going here strategically is this. This says the hero has an ability called Resilient, and when daylight ends, if you are at a mountain location, you heal an HP. Hello? We need that HP. So if I can get Vognus to make the trek from the Misty Fens to the Spire Tor, at the end of the daylight phase, he's going to gain back an HP, regardless of whether we heal with an HP, or with an AP, sorry, with one of these 2 APs, yeah. Because essentially right now we have two black actions to use. I could throw one away and say I want to heal. That would give me 1, and that's what I might end up doing. But you know what? If we want to go into the Spire Tor, the real smart thing to do when you have a very, very big lack of health is to go into sneak mode. So we're going to go hidden, all right? So we're going to hide. We're going to use this and go into hiding before we move into the Spire Tor. And the reason for that is I do not want to run into anything nasty in there. And if I do, I want to have the ability to avoid it or at least get a bonus on an engagement. So I'm using 1 AP in order to do that. So 1 of mine disappear. And then I have 1 more to go, which I'm more than happy to move from the Misty Fens into the Spire Tor. So we've arrived at this location, and it's quite the spectacle. Vognus is quite amazed at what he's seeing, and he takes a look around in this area in Spire Tor, and he encounters... Oh, that looks nice. He finds the King's Tomb. So it looks like maybe he essentially kind of walked around maybe the side into the back of this gigantic spire and ended up finding a tomb, a resting place of potentially a past king. It says many beings were hunting for the King's Tomb. Oh, so this is a place that a lot of people want to find. We happen to stumble across it. It's a place, Dungeon Mountain, which are none of the keywords that we need, but it's cool, right? We do need a sneak value of 5 to obtain it. That's obscenely high because Vognus only has a 2. So we're probably not going to be succeeding at that anytime soon. Now, again, if we had more action points, we could continue to try to confront this I guess this is considered a place. Now, the other funny thing about this is because this is a place, and it says when, it also says up here, based on our Fierce Storm, when a place enters play, place an obstacle at its location. Nasty. So the King's Tomb shows up there, but then an obstacle falls on it. So we're going to have to remember that. So I'm going to put that here for now. Essentially think of it as being here, but I'm going to keep it close to me for your viewing pleasure. We've got ourselves some nasty Fierce Storm weather. So we found the King's Tomb, but it is not nice out inside currently. And we have something else to do here. It says, revealed, draw a Badlands encounter, and if it is an enemy, put it into play at this location, otherwise discard it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to, let me think about this. Yeah, I guess we don't have a choice. It's revealed, we have to do this. So we're going to go ahead and grab a Badlands card and just hope for the best. If it's an enemy, we got to encounter it, so please, for the love, don't be an enemy, because that would not be good. Well of Essence. Hey, this looks kind of positive. So it's a 4, I believe that's study, and then 3 sneak in order to succeed past it. As a map trophy, we heal 2 HP. No, okay, what the heck is going on? This is getting ridiculous. That's insane. If I end up getting this, that would be incredible. Now, the crazy thing is, it's a little bit easier to pass the sneak because no, I don't think I will be able to, but hey, it's there. That's good to know. The funny thing is this is also another place. So I don't know how many, so this is something I'm gonna have to check on. Essentially, I don't know how many obstacles can stack here, but from what I'm understanding is it's multiple obstacles. It's still considered its own, we got 2 places. So my assumption is another obstacle would come into play affecting the Well of Essence now. We've got 2 cool things at the Spire Tour, but both of which are completely covered in a fierce storm at the moment. Now, this map trophy Heal 2 is only useful to us if we can actually pass this check up here. So at some point in time, we're gonna have to try to go ahead and encounter the place and see whether or not we succeed, basically. At least it wasn't an enemy, but here, let me just take a look at this. Draw a Badlands encounter, and if it is an enemy, put it into play at this location, otherwise discard it. Oh no! So I got all excited, but it looks like regardless, because it wasn't an enemy, this card is gone. So we're gonna discard that card. I'm gonna end up putting it, I'll put it off the side for now and deal with that later. So I guess that answered my question real quick. It never even was there in the first place. So we just have the King's Tomb here, sadly. That would have been a great card to have on the map and to gain as a trophy. Too bad. Now the good thing about this is it's a place. I can choose whether to encounter this or I can just sit pretty and do nothing. Now, the one thing I could do is I could go ahead and, while I'm at this Spire Tour and at the King's Tomb, I have 1 AP left. Now, I can make 2 choices here. One is I could choose to heal because there is absolutely no nasty encounters there. And when you choose to rest, you regain... we regain 1 lost HP only if no encounters are present. Now, technically, that encounter is there, so I guess maybe I can't rest there because there's a King's Tomb there, if I'm understanding that correctly. Because I believe a King's Tomb is considered an encounter, so maybe I can't do that just yet. Yeah, because encounters can be enemies, places, quests, or strangers. So I have to actually try to clear that first. So the only useful thing I can do there is to use 1 AP to try to clear this storm. Now by clearing the storm with that 1 AP, which is something I can do, I will do that, that is going to allow me to loot. So when you do that action, it's called clear. 1 obstacle or plot card from your location, it was an obstacle, is removed, you clear it. And then you take the plot card as a rumor if it was a plot card, which it's not, or you draw a loot token. I get to draw a loot token. So at least there's something positive that comes out of that second action. That's good. Let's see what happens here. I got 1 gold. Not bad. I'll take it. So we get 1 gold, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in my little tray of money here. So not bad. Not bad. But that essentially drains Vognus of all his abilities currently or current actions he can do. He's got the King's Tomb here that he can go after when he kind of... well, if he wants to on the next turn, essentially. So we're going to make camp. We're out of AP. We got to stop things now. So we're going to go ahead and move into the night phase, which when we move into the night phase, we all know what happens with that. We pull a card from the night deck. What did we get? Eerie Stillness. Okay, interesting. I like the art on that. It's a weather card. That's good. And all is quiet. Hey, maybe this is something good for us for a change. So what this is going to do is this replaces the weather card that's currently in play. So the Fierce Storm will no longer not only affect any more places that come into play, it's removed from the game. I can discard it. That's awesome. So now we just have an eerie stillness that's come over the land of Kilforth. Vognus, during the night, the storm subsided and things have quieted down. He was able to get a little bit more rest than he expected in Spire Tour. That's pretty good. I'm happy to get something like that because I don't think the night deck probably has too many of those positive outcomes to help me out in the future. So we've drawn and resolved the night card. That's great. And of course, the one thing we never want to forget about is the location falling into doom. That's the Burrowmar, or Burrowmore, if I'm saying that correctly. I think the second one is the correct way to say it. So that's going to be this location way up here, this wonderful looking tree that actually was one of the choices we had thought to go to. So that is going to fall into doom, or into gloom, not doom. All right, guys. what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video here. I hope you guys are enjoying so far. We are going to move into day number 2, it would be. Or maybe it's day number 3. I'm starting to lose track. It's horrible. But we'll pick it up in the next video, and I will let you know exactly where we're at, because it may be possible that I forgot to bump up my dice to 2. But we'll double check that. Hope you guys are enjoying so far, and I guess I will see you in the next episode of Gloom of Kilforth. Until the next time, everyone, keep on rolling solo.